Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Let's Be Real. I am Tara.
And I'm Sheri.
And we welcome you back to another episode. It's just the two of us, and we're probably going to get silly today.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Enjoy it or don't.
Exactly.
It's okay.
And I've been thinking, too, lately, like, should I have a more scripted intro that's like 1 or 2 sentences for this show?
No.
Okay, great.
No, I like your intro. I mean, this is who we are, right? Okay, welcome. And hopefully you've seen us before, so you understand where we're coming from. Yeah. And if you don't, just be here right now.
Yeah, just be mindful. Why do you have to think so hard about it?
Yeah,
you found yourself this. If you got this many seconds in, oh, you're in now.
That's
welcome.
What I'm saying, right?
Welcome to the office.
Yes. Welcome to, like, life is about being in the moment. So welcome to the moment. Yes.
And I don't suspect this episode will take too much of your time anyway.
No,
None of our episodes take that much time.
Right. We don't want to be dragging it on.
But Sawyer writes some great titles and descriptions on our episodes, so you already know what you're in for.
Right. I appreciate that.
Just talking about stuff.
Okay.
So today,
what stuff you got today?
Today, we're just going to be a little silly, like I said. Because you sent me a meme very recently about girls going through a breakup. Which
yes.
I think is amazing. Maybe we should couple this with another episode somewhere down the line where we invite one of our guests to do males going through a breakup.
Yes.
But they can have their moment then. Today,
I do think, though, that what we were going to talk about, that particular video, that reel that shows, I think everybody goes through that same phase, right? So, I mean, we can bring it up, right? We go through, what's the first one?
The first one was the hoe phase.
The hoe phase. I think that men go through the hoe phase, too, right?
Okay.
I mean, right? It's the figuring out what, okay, I don't want to get back into a relationship. I don't want the drama. I just want to have fun, and I want to be silly. No commitment, right? I just want to find everybody out there and whatever.
Just be attracted to so many people.
Right. Yeah. But I think maybe it comes down to you just want to feel attractive.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's exactly what the hoe phase is about.
Right.
Is attention, confidence. And
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we are humans who love attention.
Yes. Right. So we have hoe. Oh, well, but I think, though, it's probably like which one came first, the hoe phase or the alcoholism phase? I'm not sure which. Maybe they came together.
Okay, this is like stages of grief. They don't have to be linear.
Oh, true.
They can loop in and out of each other.
All right.
You can go from a breakup straight into don't give a fuck.
That's what I'm saying, because that's where I am. I'm in the don't give a fuck
You
stage.
go straight into that because there is that gendered theory that girls and women will emotionally be out of a relationship before they actually leave.
It's true. But I do think that there are men, and here Sheri is going to defend men now, right? I'm not defending. I'm just saying, it's not just male.
It's
I'm sorry. I'm joining the sides.
I'm so happy for men right now.
I know. Sheri has come in to protect you. No, I'm just kidding. It's not about protection. It's about, like, we all go through this, right?
Yes.
Men can be hoes too, right? Men can be alcoholics. Women can be alcoholics, right? We all can go through that grief of, like, listening to sad songs and I'm never going to get over this, or straight to the I never want to have another relationship again phase, where it's just like, I've checked out. Don't put me on an app. Don't put me on anything. I'm done, right?
Cats and dogs sound great companions.
Yes.
We're good. Yeah.
Right? TikTok is more fun to go through than it is to swipe left or right.
There you go. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. We've got to turn that into a therapy analogy somewhere. Why are we swiping left and right when we could just be swiping up and down?
Right. We'll just give you some more addictions instead. We'll give you some alcoholism.
Hey.
We'll give you some TikTokism.
You can't replace an addiction without some other behavior that satisfies that dopamine reception.
It's true. Okay, so I guess it depends on what it was like when you left, right? Where you left. Did you leave? Is it like a hallelujah, you're gone? It all depends, right? So, I mean, there are all kinds of phases of whether we're going through grief or we're going through a congratulatory session.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? Just depends on your situation.
Oh, I love the idea of divorce parties.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. Like, look, you're going to throw this big blowout bash for your wedding.
Right.
Which has a high percentage chance of ending in the way you're not planning for it to end.
Right. That's being in the moment, though, right? That's a classic. I'm living in the moment in that specific day of saying I do. I mean it for no longer than just this moment.
Fair enough.
Right? I mean, let's be honest, right? Because when you get further down the line, no one says, I mean, that's not true. People do say for better or worse, right? But when you're saying, I'm going to be with you no matter what, sickness and poor and all the other things that come along with it, well, but those things get under your skin, and we no longer are in that moment that we were the day we said it, right? So that's, I'm all about being in the moment. So therefore, I'm in the moment of no thank you.
No thank you.
No thank you.
Not even no thank you next, just no thank you.
Just no thank you,
Yeah.
right?
I
The
don't
whole
care
phase is the
enough.
no thank you next.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. We should create a playlist for this meeting. This comedian set up a really good idea. So, breakup into hoe phase, potential alcoholism, which we are not condoning. Let me be extremely clear.
Yes.
You don't have to go through that phase.
No, you don't.
You do not.
No one's
have
asking
to.
you to go dance on bars and drink the whole bar.
Nope.
No one's asking
Nope,
for that,
just
right?
have a little sneaky mocktail,
That's fine. I like mocktails.
And mocktails are great. I had one last night. It was so good. Someone who knew how to make a mocktail spicy margarita.
Ooh.
And it was so spicy, and I love that.
Oh, good.
I like a little burn in my food and apparently in my beverages. It was great. Anyway, and then what were the other ones? Because I feel like there was something in between. There was hoe phase,
pull it up.
alcoholism, and then don't care. Of course, I exited all the way out of the app.
Okay, sorry, but this is just
I
shows
gotcha.
my level of preparedness, and I don't care, right? Because your shirt says "Taking It Easy Club" today, and I'm taking it easy.
Absolutely. Okay, so like I said, there's hoe phase, and then there's trust issues.
Trust issues.
How did we forget that one? Then alcoholism.
That's number one.
Then don't care no more.
Okay.
So we were forgetting trust issues.
Trust issues. That's seriously, that's
Amnesia.
a big one, right?
Uh-huh.
That's probably why most of those relationships ended, right? Trust is a huge thing.
So one thing I will call out for a second is trust issues and don't care no more can look very similar.
For sure.
They can look extremely similar.
Okay.
Trust issues, to oversimplify it, I feel like it's the difference between pessimism and optimism.
True.
So
everybody, I can't trust anybody. Okay.
Or, right. There's no point in trusting anybody. Everyone's
Right.
going to hurt me. That's trust issues.
Okay.
And then the other side of it is I don't need to give anybody anything anymore. Like, this is,
I got nothing.
Life is
Don't
dope
care.
by myself. Like, this is fine.
Absolutely.
So
Right.
I can't trust anybody versus I don't need to trust anybody.
True. So that's the spectrum.
Yeah.
Right?
It's that, both have
Yes.
the absence of trust.
Yes.
But where are you on that?
Where are you
spec-
on that, right? And then, I've seen there's a trend also now where they're talking about the idea of you've been single for a couple years after a bad breakup, and then somebody texts you, hope you have a great day or sleep well, and they're like, bitch, who's telling me what to do, right? It's like you went from a long period of nobody telling me what to do to now, like, who do you think you are, right?
I was having a good morning, thank you, and now
Right,
you
but
just...
What do you mean? I can have a good morning if I want, right? It's like, so I think that's kind of on that line where we no longer are like we're completely detached.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So to me, that's when you become the cat lady. You're the cat lady with 12 cats, and you're just, or 12 dogs, whatever you want to.
Well, yeah, I'd like to get away from demonizing having more than one cat.
Yeah.
The reason cats are the symbol. Are you a cat person at all?
No.
Like anti-cat, not cat person, or
I'm okay with a cat, but I'm not going to own a cat. So I guess
That's
that
okay.
puts me in the anti-cat.
I don't think so. I don't think
Okay.
so. You respect the fact that people can like cats.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, no, you're not anti-cat then.
Oh, okay.
Anti-cat is like, it doesn't make sense why cats aren't pets. Like, they don't even care about you, da-da-da. And I'm like,
No, I've seen people who care about their cats probably more than they should. But, sorry.
seen-
So
I've
maybe that does make me anti-cat. I don't know.
It's pushing you
But
more to that side, Sheri,
yes,
but I'm
yes,
really
it
giving
is.
you some space.
Okay, give me some
space and grace.
Yeah, I'll take the grace.
But I would like to not, like, I'd like to take away that pathology and that
Okay.
that villainy of cats, because I think they're a perfect symbol of women singledom, because cats don't need our affection and attention the way dogs do.
True.
So,
But when you have so many of them, what does that say?
well, obviously I'm going to say it depends, because I don't want anyone listening thinking I'm talking about them. but when you have too many of anything.
Agreed. Okay, so it's not just the cat lady.
It's not just the cat lady.
Okay, so it's the excessive by yourself with too many things to care for.
Yes.
So you
have too many animals, you have too many book clubs, you have too many.
Right, so it's now one addiction to the other, I guess. Same thing.
Absolutely.
Right?
And you just have this space to be needed or to be expected to show up. And you need to create that feeling rather than allowing that feeling to be self-motivated.
True.
Because animals are very much an externalization of feeling need.
Yeah.
And to some degree, love. I don't know if I would extend that all the way to love.
I think some people love their animal. I mean, I'm not saying this is wrong, but people love their animals to the extent of like it's an extension of you, right? Which is the same thing about how people who are unhealthy with their relationship with their children, where their child is literally an extension of you, and if you say something about them, then they hurt you. Like that's, that's kind of a parental thing, but when I'm talking about when it goes past the
I
point
hear what you're
of
saying.
You're attacking me physically, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
you overreact to something that's not necessarily about you as a person, but you feel it reflected in your actions or your values or any of those things.
Yes, exactly.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
But so anytime you're over identifying with anything, I think is the problem, right? And it's not a problem until it's a problem if you go past that level. Anyway,
so we've added like this down the line phase of a breakup where you might have caught yourself up with pouring into something else or other animals, other hobbies. Right. Too much,
right? So the idea is, okay, so when we get to the don't care no more phase, that's okay, right? Because to me, I equate like right now with my don't care no more phase as I think of it more for me as I'm content in who I am right now, and I don't need anything else to complement that yet.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm okay with that. But at what point do you, that's just for me, but at what point do you feel too complacent in that? And I'm just okay. I don't ever want anybody in my life. But that's not a problem either if it's not a problem for me.
I was absolutely going to bring this up because when do any of these become a problem? The only one that's automatically labeled as a problem is trust issues because it's got the word issues in there. Like that there's something incompatible with what you want out of life. Alcoholism is a problem. Thank you. Alcoholism is a problem.
You probably had that tendency before, but whatever. Maybe that's why you broke up in the first place. I don't know.
So that is a problem. The two that I think have the two poles to them is hoe phase and don't care no more.
True.
Because hoe phase, obviously, in its phrasing as well, is a phase. It's a transition period. It's not a forever.
Right, because that gets old after a while, right?
But you and I both know people that are playing up this phase longer
than they should.
Than they should. Or I would like to challenge that maybe. Like, when is the duration of a quote-unquote hoe phase a problem? Let's say I don't want to have a long-term partner. I have no desire to pursue something like that. People can come and go out of my life.
I guess it depends on what your definition of hoe is.
There we go.
Right? Hoe as in whore, as in, all that, right? Like, is it something that you're cheating on people and that's not okay, right? If the people don't know, the definition of cheat for me is that the other person doesn't know or isn't okay with it.
Yeah.
So if that's the kind of hoe phase you're going through, then that's going to hurt a lot of people and yourself in the long run, right? But if it's I just don't feel like committing to anything and I've been very clear and I only put myself in a space that other people know that, okay, whatever. But, to each his own.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, I think most people have been through that phase. Right? I think it's just kind of life, right? But I think that there does become a point when that's too much, right? If you look at risk factors for a lot of things,
sure,
promiscuity is pretty high there.
Yeah,
depending on how you're, how you look at that.
Yeah, no. There's definitely the numbers game there of the more partners you have, the more you diversify your portfolio, so to speak. You're
You're just asking for more risks. That's all, right?
It's the nature of it. There are more risks. That's not a value statement. That's a neutral statement.
Exactly.
It's not good, bad. It's potentially ugly. That's all there is to it.
Exactly.
It's just really interesting because I believe in a world where that's absolutely possible, right? Where there's
just live your life being a hoe.
And not only do I have to believe it, I'm sure that there are people living it.
Oh, for sure.
And they're minding their business, and that's a beautiful thing.
And I will
not
say whether that's man or woman.
Correct.
Because that's just the species, okay, right?
They, them.
Just a species, okay.
They, them. Absolutely. 2024, y'all.
Yeah.
And probably is not even that recent. But people just minding
human beings from the beginning of time, right?
Amen. Mm-hmm. So it's just people living just by their own commitments, non-commitments.
Right.
With the emphasis on it being healthy if you're communicating, hey, by engaging with me, you aren't going to be promised anything.
Right. And by engaging with me, you may be also engaging with others, just so you know that I'm not
non-monogamous.
I'm non-monogamous. And that's okay. If other people are okay with that and you're not playing a game, right? Because when you start to play with people's emotions, and sometimes, people are very clear that that's not what they want, but I'm sorry, women, well, men too, right? We are very much, especially when it comes to sex, women are very much emotional creatures. Sure. And it's very hard to separate that for us, right? Touch, especially if you're somebody who that's your love language, right? Yeah. And that's how you feel love. To be in hoe phase is going to be really difficult for you, right? If you're going from one person to the next and you're trying to, a lot of times I see that that's really more of a search, like we talked about earlier.
That makes sense.
The search of, let me find the right person.
Goldilocks.
Or let me find, Goldilocks. And I like that. I like that. That's a good one. Okay. So each time we come up with new terms. Last time I had one for you. Now I have.
Yep.
Now
we
you have
went
Goldilocks.
From boob Nazi to Goldilocks.
Yeah, there you go.
We need a dictionary.
We give you a lot of stuff to think about here. Yeah.
You won't find them in any therapy textbook.
For sure. Yeah. We just make it up as we go. No, it's okay.
This is the ACT practitioner in me just coming up with shit and being like, it's gonna work.
Right, we're just gonna accept it.
We're just gonna accept it. And this is what it looks like.
Yep. It's okay.
Exactly. So I really would love to add a dynamic to this conversation with not today, but future bringing a guest.
Okay.
I know. So sorry to get you excited like that.
I know.
Get a guy on here and be like, what's it like for a man going through a breakup? Because I've heard things. You've heard things.
Right.
I'll share a stereotype I've heard about the difference between men and women going through breakups.
Yes.
And to be clear, I wonder if this is really relevant, but at least for this context, very much in heterosexual relationships.
Right. Okay.
So I know stereotypes for bisexual and lesbian relationships. I actually don't know any breakup stereotypes of gay men relationships. Would love that perspective. Call to action. Thank you.
Yes.
But at least for heterosexual couples, in the differences between men and women after breakups, women will mourn, do the solitary activities and process, and then 6 months later, they are living their best lives, thriving, healthy, being social, being productive, got a promotion, all that shit. Whereas guys will kind of find themselves in the opposite, where the next day after a breakup, they're out with their friends. They're doing all the things that they felt like they couldn't do. Mm-hmm. And I used air
now
quotes
they're with
there.
a new girl, they're dating, on with a new life a week later.
Yep. But then 6 months later, they had to break up with that girl because it all came crashing down on them, and now they're going to process and mourn. And
I wasn't ready.
Where was that life that I had 6 months ago or maybe 7 months ago for a true timeline? And obviously that stereotype feels very unsubstantiated.
Right, so come tell us we're wrong. I'm okay with that.
But I have heard that before.
Yeah, I have.
Really interesting.
I've seen it. So I've seen it many times, and so I get that. And people, guys, especially guys that want that need somebody in their life. I mean, not that women don't, but I think more women have other friends to pull them out of that. And again, guys also have friends to pull them out of it. But I think, So come tell me, and so I don't have to keep making up things,
exactly.
right? Come tell us about it. I'd love to hear about what your side of the story is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, that would be some good reflection back and forth. I think that would be a really good moment, even if we don't find the Goldilocks guest for this.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll ask the folks before we go to the next episode what they think, so we can get some like when we ask people about their experiences in therapy, what they liked and didn't like, we'll go back to our roots there and ask the people, and we can bring in some stories there. I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, right. We just did a poll that said, would you want your therapist to have lived experience in something similar as you? And what did the poll say?
So far, it says that people, I mean, this episode's coming out a couple weeks after that poll, but for our time, which is not relative,
yes,
it's very real. Yeah, most of y'all seem to like having shared experiences with your therapist, which makes a lot of sense. This is the direction that mental health has been going.
Right.
And
well, and I think that
we're
just more open in our sessions than I think we ever have been, and I think that's part of the explosion of therapy, right?
Absolutely.
But
I don't like the power dynamic of traditional like
I'm over you, and
therapy.
therefore I want you to think I'm perfect, and that's when people say, "Oh, you go to a therapist too?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's we have to, right?" I mean, that's not that we have to, but that's an understanding that we're human, right? And they're talking to another human that has gone through life, and we're not trying to be perfect, right?
You're not hiring me because I've figured it out.
Agreed.
You're not hiring me to reflect on all of the, like, that's why you hire those, like, inspirational speakers and certain life coaches, is because you think that they have personal knowledge to bestow upon you. That's the marketing that I get from them.
True.
Again, always correct me if I'm way off base. Everyone always has permission to do that. Sheri is nodding her head, so I'm imagining it's all the same over there. Don't be mean about it. Don't bully.
That's what I'm saying. Right? We don't like bullies. Bullies are bad.
Bullies are bad.
But if you don't agree with us, that's not a bully. So
no,
we're okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're open to disagreement and discussion.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's the premise of where I've said it, I don't know, 1,000 times, that I'm a human treating humans. I am not a robot. I'm not a walking clipboard or a notes template. Like, I am a person who lives a dynamic life and has her own story.
Right.
And
I'm not going to share my whole story with you.
To some degree, my story walks in the room with me, though.
Of course, right?
I don't turn off.
Right.
I am still Tara when I am a social worker. I'm still Tara when I'm a partner. I'm still Tara when I'm a daughter. Like, those identities don't come and go. They are me.
Right.
At all times.
And there's sometimes in your life where your clients have to learn things about you, whether they wanted to or not, right? When your name changes 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good example, actually.
When your client knows you as one name, then you get married, you change your name, and then you get divorced and you change your name to a completely different name.
Yep.
That's that's a little bit of I can't hide behind that, right? But again, I'm not going to turn. I have had people tell me that their therapists have turned, like their sessions have kind of turned into now them having to commiserate, right? That's not what we're talking about, right? The idea is not, I'm not trying to tell you so you can make me feel better. But the idea, and that's when we were taught in school to not share your stuff with your clients, that's what's intended, right? Our purpose is not to act perfect or to think that we've never been through anything. But the idea is that you're here for you, right?
Let's be very intentional about why I'm sharing anything about me.
I can say I understand certain things because I've lived it. I've I've had clients that have had some very similar things to me, right? Like going through IVF or going through, infertility issues and all that. And I hadn't spoken to anybody about that. And then a client, I was like, oh my God, I can totally relate. Been there. I know what those shots are like. I know what that feels like. I know the disappointment of it. I know those things, right? So that's something that they didn't read that in my bio.
Correct.
Right? So that was relatable, and none of my other clients know that, right? I'm not a walking billboard for it.
Correct.
And I think that's the difference. If I'm putting it on my client, if I'm making it for them to make me feel better, then shame on me, right? That's not how it should be.
I get that.
Yeah.
And I love the tangents we get on, but
I know we started somewhere else and here we are. Yeah.
But we're just recapping an episode you guys heard a couple weeks ago of I'm someone who very much is a fan of having a therapist who relates to me
Yes.
to some degree. Do they have to? No. If I find that I connect with them and
Right. It's all about connection anyways.
and for some reason their story doesn't align with mine, that doesn't disqualify them.
Right.
And I'm not going to seek somebody who necessarily advertises that they go through what I go through.
Right.
But if
It just happens to be that way and you already connect, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm never going to be able to connect with my client about.
Mhm.
I mean, not connect, that I'm not going to be able to have had the same experience. It's impossible, right? So I just, you don't have to have it, but sometimes it's nice to know that somebody else has also been through something and we're going to work on not how I got through it, but understanding that, hey, that sucked and I get it, right?
Absolutely. Maybe a topic for next time, which is, I guess, weird prefacing this on the air, but here we are, is because I don't want to extend this conversation into a whole tangent that basically makes this 2 episodes.
Right.
But talking about similarities that you can hire for.
Okay.
Like, for example,
Yeah.
for a long time, I was looking for a therapist of color.
Okay.
And I can tell you my top 2 therapists of all time were not people of color.
Okay.
And I think that's really interesting how I was searching so hard at that time. And when I landed on my therapist, we had so many other things in common. My most recent therapist. And then my other therapist was a dude and was an intern. And I had to have those sessions recorded, which I hated. We could talk about that too.
Exactly.
But maybe, talking about things you can hire for.
Yeah.
Maybe empowering you guys
Well,
to
and
learn how to
I
read
think-
bios for your therapists.
Exactly. I think that's a good idea, right? Sometimes people, what you think you're going to get is not what you get either, right? That I never thought I would connect with you based on your bio, but here we are and I connect. Or based on your bio, I thought we were totally going to jive and I can't get out fast enough, right?
Yeah.
And that's fair. You get to do that. But that
I think
person's
that
going
would
to
be
charge you for that session.
Which
Sorry.
is fine. That's why I like to hire people that encourage me to practice something or give me some skill at the end of a session.
Absolutely.
I don't like paying for intake. That's just paperwork in a biopsychosocial. Like,
Yes.
this is my symptoms. Can you give me anything to start working on?
Yeah, I want to know that this means something.
Especially if halfway through
Yeah.
the session I know I'm not coming back.
Right. So what we want to know at the end of this is, guys, do you experience the same thing as what these 2 females in front of you are saying?
Yeah.
We experience, although we don't speak for all females.
With respect to breakups.
With respect to breakups.
The title
right,
of the
sorry.
show.
Yeah.
Not where we went.
Sorry. Yes. But it all has to do with, also, like, breakups has to do with a lot with fear. Am I going to be alone forever? And is that why I'm running to the hoe phase? Because I need to get that piece out.
Yeah.
Or I'm just gave up because I might as well. Like, there's no good people out there.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to write some notes to ask you guys, poll you guys.
Right.
Literally, the guys. So
And when you're pulling out your dating app and you're going, oh shit, I can't do this again, right? That's the I don't care no more. Just can't do it.
yeah. And I definitely want all ages on this too.
Yeah, that's when we need to like do our dating app. Who's going to help us do that?
Oh gosh, yeah, we need
Although
we need an investor.
At this point in my life, I wouldn't even be on it, so I don't know what to say.
I think that makes it better.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be on the beta sandbox version of it. I'm not going to be on it either.
That's right. Good girl. Yeah.
Well, for other reasons.
For other reasons. Yeah, exactly. It's just rough, Like, I think there should be something that tells us, okay, this is really what we're all looking for. Stop rating this BS that nobody really cares about. No one cares to see your fish. No one cares about your like, nobody cares about your bathroom picture. And nobody wants to write it. Like, we just, why can't we just meet each other in real life?
Yeah.
Like, why doesn't anybody approach anybody? And why are we all afraid? I mean, I'm right there. Like, it's not that I don't want anybody to approach me. I don't want to put myself in that position either. So I don't know.
Yeah. We're afraid. We've got to get our author friend back on the show.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Let's invite her back.
Okay, I will.
I think we should do a recap.
I have to reach out. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And if you're wondering what we're talking about in one of our episodes, we had
early,
yeah, we had someone come on and talk about their book, I Swiped Wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So So we'll see.
Now that I've read it, we should bring it back.
Right, exactly. Me too. And so to see where it's a short book, but it's a great book. You should look it up. It's on Amazon, and
Definitely.
she was a great guest, and figuring out, is she continuing to swipe? Is she continuing to swipe wrong? I haven't talked to her in a long time, so
Let's make
it'll
this
be interesting
happen.
to see. Yeah,
That would be good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining this brainstorm we had at the end of our episode.
Yes.
You guys were in for a ride. But you guys all know where to find us. Let's Be Real, Sheri and Tara on all of the platforms. YouTube and TikTok and Instagram are getting quite a bit of attention. So keep sending. I stand by what I said. Send an episode, send a reel, I prefer YouTube and TikTok sends if you're not going to send actual episodes. Instagram just isn't really doing it for us these days.
Right.
I mean, change my mind. But.
Right, exactly. And the thing is that I really would love for people to pump up the YouTube side.
I agree.
Like share it, or share through Spotify, share through Apple
Podcast,
Music, podcasts, all that.
Amazon Podcasts, wherever you listen to them, share it. I stand by what I said. If you can prove to me that you shared it with 5+ people, I will send a few bucks your way via Venmo. I have no problem doing that. Call it it's a tax write-off. But
whatever it takes.
We want to get the listener. We want to get people out there. We have affiliate codes. We have all these things, but it only benefits us when it benefits you guys. And
exactly,
we want to make sure that this is a show worth listening to. So share
it.
If
you have something that we want us to share with other people, something exciting, like. What are you doing in regards to mental health? What have you learned? What would you like us to talk about?
Yeah.
We're here. And is there something you want to go fight the state for? Or,
yes.
I'd love to. Just tell me what and where, and I'll be there.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on what we're talking about. But,
tell us
most
what to
things,
look into. Tell us what to research. Tell us what to
Give us
get involved in.
Yeah. I'm down
for
it.
Yeah, we're about it.
We're about change, right? We're supposed to be change makers, and
Facts.
I feel like I'm kind of sliding backwards, so help me move forward in that.
I like that.
Yeah,
let's definitely do that. We need your help to do it, because we're just two gals in an echo chamber, which may be why we started this, because we wanted to take it from restaurants and happy hour to an actually productive stage.
Exactly, yeah.
And we're hoping that this is that stage. So share, spread the news. Let's give you guys what you want to hear. We're flexible. We're open. Again, thank you for listening. As always, especially if you make it to this part where we start signing off and you're still listening right now. I love you.
Exactly.
I said it. I love you. Sheri's
you
like,
can take that snippet and just have it at the end of the night. No, I'm just kidding. That's weird.
Sheri's like, Tara, it's okay. You can sign off now. Like, I need you to know.
Oh my. Okay. On that note.
Note. No, seriously, it means a lot that you guys listen, and that's why we keep coming back. So with that said, we will see you next time when you hear us. Bye.